your turn to...
Oh, is it for me?
Consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT.
And I'm Drew.
And we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
Hey, man. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me back. Man, I just... You've really made me feel welcome on the show.
I try not to, but you keep coming back, so.
Well, when you say you like breakfast tacos, I'll be sure to continue to...
present them?
Yes, thank you. I was breakfast taco brain farting there.
Hey, I get it. It happens to the best of us, just not to me. So I kind of think I'm more like biscuits and gravy, you know.
Oh, okay, biscuits and gravy. I can get behind that.
Oh, I bet you could.
Oh. Well, what kind of gravy? Sausage gravy, bacon gravy.
Bacon gravy.
Oh, I'm full and I'm stuffed right now, but I'm still drooling.
Hey.
What if? Yeah.
So I don't have any like updated news, but I have some kind of fresh news. That's we had done an episode about what was that? The breaking news where the sun was spitting out all the CMEs, coronal mass ejections.
Yes, yeah, the sun is on fire.
Yeah. So that's
solar flares and sunspots and all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's getting a lot more active. Wanted to talk a little bit about that. Which we just did. But it's just, it's getting a little bit more active.
Yeah, I think updates are always great and appreciated.
Yeah. So,
that would actually explain a few things, too, so we can talk about here in a little bit.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. But yeah, so the sun is getting a little bit more active. I know we're supposed to, hey, let's get into this, but we're already in this. And we're doing it. So, the sun is getting Yeah, I'm sorry.
In it to win it, baby.
Oh, yeah. So the sun's getting a lot more active, a lot more quickly. So just make sure that if you're fair-skinned, to put sunscreen on. And because there's going to be a lot of UV lights getting through the atmosphere.
I was watching a video the other day, and this flight attendant, she gives tips from time to time, how to get better seats or how to better snacks or whatever.
Okay.
One of the things she mentioned, it was like a little hidden secret, if you will. A lot of times these aircrew people, flight attendants, pilots, whatever they are, that fly with the planes all day, every day, wear sunscreen. And I had no idea. It didn't make sense to me, but she said, yeah, they spend a lot of their time, up there, closer to the sun, and the UV rays and the radiation and all that stuff. They said so much so that a lot of insurance companies put them in the same category as they do like radiation technicians and astronauts and that kind of career field.
Yeah,
I never
that does
even
make
thought about
sense.
that.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, you're up there and you're in that, what you would think, pressurized, secured capsule of a aircraft, and you would think that not much penetrates it, but you got to consider you're 30,000, 40,000 feet up in the sky.
Oh yeah,
closer to the atmosphere than we are here down on the ground level. But the UV rays and everything else. I mean, all that can just get through whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a really good suggestion. Somebody throwing in like a little travel-sized bottle of sun protection while you're up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know I will.
And also, speaking of, there's a lot more news out there about the blackouts that are fixing to occur. And in fact, obviously this is a podcast, so I'll try to describe it the best I can, but there's a map of the United States, North America, which involves Canada as well, that shows a likelihood of where the blackouts are going to be. So the blackouts on this map are from Washington State all the way down to the southern parts of California, and that's the West Coast. And it goes all the way through Nevada, Idaho, Montana, all up through there, even south as Arizona, New Mexico, here in Texas. Yeah, so just picture United States from the West Coast all the way into the center part, right? So all of those states from Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Nebraska, and then the Dakotas, South and North Dakota. Parts of, you're going to have to forgive me, Canada, but the southern portion of your center province there. And then the higher risks are going to be Michigan, all the way down to Louisiana, right?
Oh, wow.
So those are going to be the higher risk. The western, all the way to this, to Texas, is going to be kind of like a medium risk, and then everyone else is kind of a lower risk from Louisiana all the way to the East Coast. So, speaking of the grid system, you have the West Coast grid system, the East Coast grid system, and then Texas has its own.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it's important to have some sort of backup system. Now, if your house is running on solar panels and you're pushing that back onto the grid, good for you. I'm glad you're having that. A lot of people can't afford that. But to have backup batteries or battery banks or whatever, even just a small one for your phone, is nice to have. If you have a gas generator, as long as you have enough fuel, cans of fuel or anything.
Speaking of generators, I get a weekly flyer in my email, and Harbor Freight. Put a little plug in there for them. They have a lot of cheaper tools, cheaper priced, probably cheaper in quality as well. But they are
we
a lot
are not
more
sponsored
affordable.
by Harbor Freight, by the way.
Not sponsored. There's no affiliate link below. But they do offer a lot of I don't want to say discounted, but cheaper alternatives to the bigger brand names. And I saw one the other day. It was like a 200 or 400 watt generator, but it was electric.
Oh,
so
okay.
You charge it up, and it's got a small couple little solar panels on it, so it can take a little bit of extra energy as you deplete it. But I thought, man, this is actually a lot more affordable than buying a big old gas generator.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this wouldn't power you for a week or weeks or anything like that. But if you were going out camping, or hey, I lost power, the grid went down for a few hours, and all the outlets and stuff that this thing has on it, you could juice up the necessities, and you'd be okay for a short period of time.
Yeah. Well, it's come to my realization that a deep freezer, either a 6 cubic inch or a 5 or whatever you can afford, would probably be the best bet to do it if the power goes out and you have one of those, because you can freeze everything in it, right? And that freezer portion will last up to 24, some of them would say 48 hours. And so if you need to keep things cold or whatever, you don't have a lot of energy, or it takes a while for one of those electric generators or electric battery packs to store energy from the sun. So say you've got solar panels or whatever, it's going to take a little bit for that to run. You could run it every other day and just kind of keep your stuff cold, and when you need it, have I know a lot of people have propane grills, but maybe look into a coal grill, or not a coal, charcoal grill.
I saw an article recently, the past few weeks, that as people are trying to push fossil fuels and gasoline out and bring in electricity, the Obamas at their mansion or their home of residence, whatever you want to call it, just recently had propane installed there. I don't remember how many tanks it was. It was something ridiculous, but they can afford it.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, as an alternative, they have that there and can use it if and when they need it.
Right. Well, yeah, you have. I think in the city, you guys have natural gas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
and that's something that could potentially just keep flowing in if you have like an AC unit that runs off natural gas or a heater unit.
Right.
If we ever get into the colder days. But
I'm
that would be
hoping.
nice to have. God, I think we're all hoping about that one. But yeah, just some things to bring up. Just kind of get the juices flowing into the audience's brains, and just because it's in your house and it's a convenience and all that doesn't mean that it's going to be around forever, or the grid's not going to go down for a couple of weeks, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. You don't want your food going bad, because some people have a couple $100 worth of food stored, or thousands
Right.
of dollars of food stored, and if you can't keep it refrigerated or you can't keep it cold, you don't have a way to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea to, like you said, get the wheels turning, start thinking about what if. You don't necessarily have to be a doomsday prepper or a paranoid, the world is ending tomorrow, but something, like this happening with these grids going down, or it being too hot, or we're pushing more EVs and the grid can't take it, whatever the case,
Yeah.
it's a realistic scenario. And again, not saying that you've got to prepare for, hey, I've got to live off of this generator or backup source for weeks or months or whatever, but have a plan. Hey, I can make it for a few hours, or I can make it for a day or two, and I'll be okay. You're not just caught with, oh crap, all my stuff is out. What do I do?
Right. Well, and if you have, like you said, the Obamas went out and got a propane tank, and it was a ridiculous amount. But if you have something like that, you need to make sure that you have the means to refill it. Natural gas still runs on a pump. You got to make sure that the city can run the natural gas pump to get it out to the lines. But what I was saying earlier was, if you need to cook your stuff, look into getting a charcoal grill, because you can burn wood in that. And
Yeah.
there's some people, especially out in the central of the country, in the east in the country, they've got a lot of trees. You can chop something down, dry it out, and there you go. You've got a fuel source. So don't just rely on propane and natural gas. Try and get your resources out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Expand your horizon.
Definitely. And another point that I'll bring up, something I talked to you about the other day. We ran to a doctor appointment in the Metroplex.
Yeah.
And I had turned on my CB just to see if anybody was talking on the highway channels. There's some construction in some parts and heavy traffic and that kind of thing. So I just turned it on, was monitoring, and didn't really pick up a lot of traffic. No problem. The next day, I turned it on to get the NOAA weather report.
Yeah.
And the radio wouldn't turn on. Wouldn't turn on at all.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I
you
thought,
telling me
okay,
that.
well, what the heck? Let me check the power source. Well, the power source is pushing juice.
Okay.
Unplugged it, plugged it back in, turned it off, turned it back on, nothing. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's the antenna. But then I'm like, well, that wouldn't have anything to do with the radio turning on or off.
Right.
Well, about an hour or two later, got back in the truck, radio turns on. It's working. And as I'm driving, maybe 5 miles down the road, the radio turns off. So again, I'm checking the power source. I'm checking all the stuff. Everything's working like it should, except the radio turning on and off. And it's not making like a popping noise. There was no blown fuse that I could see. There's no smoke. The radio wasn't hot, anything like that. And a couple times since then, I've turned it on and I'll get some interference noises.
Some like static noises in the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Some static noises, some high pitches, or it just stuff that I know is out of the ordinary.
Now, is this on the AM frequency or is this on the sideband?
This is just on the AM frequency.
Okay.
And I checked the SWR on it, and I'm running in the low ones.
Okay.
And at channel 20, I'm at a solid 1.
All right.
So, I thought maybe it's just burning up. Maybe I'm at like a 5 or a 6 or something, and I just don't need to turn it on. But that wasn't the case. So then I started wondering and thinking outside the box a little bit, and hey, does this have anything to do with? We were talking about some of those EMPs or the solar
CMEs.
flares affecting the CMPs and ABCs and DEFGs and the MNLOPs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So every now and then I'll turn it on and it'll be on. It'll power up. Everything is good to go, and then I just turn it right back off.
Okay.
But
But
thankfully, that's not my primary or secondary means of communication. We have our GMRS and ham and whatnot. But again, if you have that kind of equipment, make sure you're checking it regularly. Make sure you're making sure it functions properly. That way, in the event, okay, I have a backup to my backup, or I can plan for that now that I know, or what have you. But it was just very interesting, all the timing of events and stuff going on that you were telling me. Stuff's going on with the atmosphere, and be on the lookout for this, or that might not work this day or that day. And I was like, holy cow, I'm seeing it for real, possibly.
And yeah, it's it's impossible, but that is a one of the, I guess you could call, symptoms of what could be radio outage. It could have been the solar flares that were messing with your radio.
Yeah.
And it may not necessarily mess with your truck, because your truck is kind of already a metal box, and you've got your grounds in certain places that shouldn't affect your truck battery. So, there's...
Right.
They've already thought of stuff like that, but eventually it could.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that gets me wondering about, kind of going down a rabbit trail, but gets me wondering about these electric vehicles. If I have something that's running all electric and something goes down with the grid or with the computer inside of it that runs it or what have you, like, am I SOL, or is that not going to affect it at all? Or, I'm not as smart on that topic.
Right. Well, and so I'm going to add on to that, where if you do eventually, not you in particular, but you as a whole group, do eventually decide to go with an electric vehicle, you kind of more or less need not a bug out bag, but a pack to get you home. Have a couple of bucks in there for cold drinks if the convenience stores are still open, or you've got your debit card. That's not guaranteed that their system's not down, so always have some cash on you. And make sure that the quickest route from where you're at to get home. It may not necessarily be the road that you're on. Maybe that you can go through some streets or try and stay in the shade. Always pack some sunscreen. Again, once those solar flares and whatnot start messing with the radio, you've really got to consider that those UV lights are messing with your skin, could give you a little burn. So,
speaking of burn, I would like to test my antenna, if you wouldn't mind holding it for me while I transmit.
Well, I'll only do it if you're at 50 watts.
Well, yeah, didn't think there was a question there.
Okay, yeah, totally.
But all right, man. Yeah, that's a good update. We'll definitely be following that, monitoring that closely. Because it doesn't seem like it's anything that's just gonna, hey, that happened for 2 days and now it's gone. It sounds like it's something that's continuously evolving.
Yeah. Again, we're still in that upscale of the sun just kind of shooting all these flares out. 2025 is going to be the peak, and then we'll start descending. But that doesn't mean that we're not getting big enough CMEs pushed out to the earth right now. So just be mindful.
No, I'm glad you stayed on top of your CPTs.
I try all the time. So
that's what I'm talking about, baby.
I'm almost a doctor.
That's what I'm talking about. Taco Food truck.
Baby.
Taco. All right. Well, I think that takes us into our next kind of interesting story, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you heard of Malcolm Nance?
I have heard of Malcolm Nance. However, when I was handed the paperwork from our producers, I had not, so I had to do some research on him.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I had to do the same. They brought him up, and I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah. But very interesting on what he's bringing to the table.
Yeah, so a little background on him. He is and I'm pulling this from another source, kind of a bio on him.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a leading expert in counterterrorism studies, as well as an intelligence analyst,
Well,
cryptologist.
Okay.
No. And a former senior chief petty officer in the United States Navy. He's also the founding executive director of New York-based think tank Terror Asymmetrics Project on Strategy, Tactics, and Radical Ideologies. And he's written several papers. I think he's got a couple books out there about the dangers posed by major terrorist groups such as ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and he also has a group that he calls, I think it's called Titus.
Okay. That's not how I was going to pronounce it, but yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Titus.
Oh, well, I was going to say
La Tits now.
Yeah.
Oh, Trebek. Shut up, Mag. But there's this article out there, and why I bring him up, again, he's a formal naval senior NCO with an intelligence background. Apparently, a while back, he volunteered, and, I say volunteered, he sent himself to Ukraine to help in the fight that's going on between Ukraine and Russia.
Okay.
So in this article from MSNBC, it says that he took up arms to fight in Ukraine earlier this year. And he claims that the GOP has become an insurgency that the United States may have to fight. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
The GOP?
Yep.
Okay.
And initially you're thinking, or I'm thinking, sometimes they use this rhetoric or they use this terminology. Oh, yeah, we're going to fight our opponents on the other side of the aisle. And it's, okay, yeah, we're going to go against them when it comes to
debating an issue.
Debating, the polls, voting, all that kind of stuff.
Right. What
but
policies are they trying to push through?
He quite literally means fight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, kill people.
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is that your Republican neighbor wants to kill you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he compared the Republican Party to terrorist groups, such as the terrorists that the United States, have fought in Iraq, Syria, Libya. And he doesn't stop there. He equates those terrorist groups and the Republican Party, because they're all the same, as white extremists who may have to be fought.
Yeah. Why would you make that statement? Okay, first of all, you're a retired, I'm assuming?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, just says former. So, former senior chief petty officer. Bro, you are in the same boat as us. Why would you think that a particular party is a terrorist organization?
Well, simply put, because they don't agree. They're not on the same sheet of music. So, if you're not for me, you're against me.
But why? Okay, on both sides of the party, right? So the extreme left, extreme right. They're fighting an uphill battle. Both of them are. with each other, which is putting people like you and me who are in the middle sitting here questioning just our thought process. Like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah.
And to sit here and say that a particular party, because, I mean, we have independent, it's not just Republican, Democrat, where there's some independent parties out there. But it's sitting there going, well, there's only two parties in the United States. You're either left or you're right? You're either Democrat or you're Republican. Well, there's some policies that the Democrats come out that I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And there's some over here in the Republican Party where I'm like, oh, that makes more sense, or that makes a little sense. And why can't we just meet in the middle? Why does it have to be an extreme all the time?
Yeah, I was about to say, and it's even more radical than just, hey, you're either left or you're right. It's, hey, you're either left or you're a terrorist.
Yeah, at this point, that's what it is.
And if you're not left, that means you want to kill Americans. If you're not left, that means you're a white extremist. Doesn't matter if you're not really white or not. You're a white extremist.
Well,
in his new book, the book is titled, They Want to Kill Americans, The Militias, Terrorists, and Deranged Ideology of the Trump Insurgency. So he claims that former President Donald Trump's supporters are a, quote, generational terror threat greater than either Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State, end quote. And he's also quoted saying, Trump insurgency in the United States, or Titus, Titus, end quote, is especially dangerous, principally because Trump's most loyal and violent foot soldiers benefit from the ultimate privilege, being white. So, if you are a Trump supporter in any shape, form, or fashion, you are automatically white, which makes you a white extremist, which makes you a terrorist, far worse than Al-Qaeda or ISIS or ISIL or whoever. And you are a threat to the real Americans, which are those on the left-leaning side, because you're not really an American if you're not one of them.
So let me ask this. What about the black people who support Trump, or the Latino people,
White extremists, baby.
So they're all lumped into white extremists.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense.
And
Why can't...
I think you showed it to me, or I showed it to you the other day. There was a video we were watching at lunch, and there was one black guy being interviewed by another black man.
I sent that to you today.
Yeah. And he's asking him questions about this very thing. About, if your thoughts, views, opinions, whatever don't line up with the other side, then you're a white supremacist or a white extremist.
Yeah.
And the guy answered, he was like, yeah. And the other guy who's asking the question says, okay, even me, I'm a black man. Even me, you would consider a white extremist. He goes, yeah. Yep. Because he doesn't think like the other guy thinks. And it's not just a case by case. Well, one or two people think that way. They're really extreme. Not everybody thinks like that. And I'm not saying that everybody on the left thinks this way.
No,
but
there's
this
not.
is happening more times than not, where people get lumped into these categories where when you look at them, they don't belong.
Yeah.
When I think white extremists or white terrorists, white power, I'm thinking like white neo-Nazi people, the Aryan Nation, Brotherhood, whatever they're called. We wear swastikas. If you ain't white, you ain't right.
Yep.
Go to my Klan meetings, all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm thinking of when I hear white extremist or white terrorist or white whatever. Supremacist.
Yeah. No, you and me are in the same. That's every time I hear that word.
Black people, Mexican people, Indian people, Asian people.
No.
Any other kind of other people than white aren't in that group. They may be in some other kind of supremacist or extremist group that hate a certain race or a certain color or what have you, but they're not white.
Yeah.
And just because their political ideologies, hey, I lean more on the Republican side, because my values align with them for A, B, C, X, Y, Z.
Right.
Oh, okay. I'm automatically a white supremacist. Doesn't work that way.
No, it does not. But they want you to think it does.
Yeah, and if we say it enough times, then
It's true.
you will think it is that way. If I teach it enough times that way in my classroom, when you graduate, well, yeah, that's what I learned in college.
Yeah.
So it has to be true. My professor wouldn't lie to me. What is a woman? I still haven't watched that, by the way.
I still haven't gotten the answer for that definition. So.
Yep. That is, I read one today talking about that. They were asking somebody in under oath, they were asking that question. The lady couldn't answer it. She kept beating around the bush, and in the comments section of that video, people were tearing up people that were trying to ask the question again. Mm-hmm. Well, the guy didn't ask what a biological woman is. Or, oh, well, they didn't ask, the XX or XY chromosomes. Basically, you need to pick up a biology book because biology in the last 50 years has changed.
What?
There's more than XX and XY. There's more than your regular DNA, and I know that there are some variances with DNA, and some of the chromosomes mutate and whatnot, and you get people that are born with different things, right? Like Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Or
extra chromosome.
Right. There are things that happen, but there are still people with peepees and people with uteruses. And a man, no matter how you slice it, if he has a peepee and doesn't have a uterus, he cannot give birth. He cannot become pregnant.
No.
The argument of, well, then that denies the existence of transgender people is false. Because a woman that is transgender or believes that she is a man is still, her bits and pieces are a woman. She may look like a man. She may identify as a man. But I'm pretty sure, and I would have to go back and do the research on this. I'm not claiming that I have all the answers. But I'm pretty sure she still could not physically turn around and get her partner, if she's with a woman, pregnant. But we still have people out there that are having these arguments.
Yeah.
And
well, so now you can take two women's DNA, right, and insert that into an egg and create a child, an embryo, right? So, but naturally, whether one of them identifies as a man or not, naturally, they could not impregnate the other one.
Well, and you're still going to need sperm.
Yeah.
Even if it's all created in a lab, in vitro, or whatever other way, you're still going to need something to fertilize the egg.
Yeah. Well, take the two DNA and insert it into the egg, right? So.
But anyways, we'll be going down that road a little more later.
I don't want to.
You can't make me. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, no, I know the truth.
Man, very
my head just
times we're living in, my friend.
I tell you what, my head just hurts every time that subject comes up. Because, one, it's sensitive and people are very passionate about it. And
sure.
Two, don't ask me for my opinion if you don't want it.
Right, and there's nothing wrong. We can have a discussion. We can have differing opinions.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And that doesn't, I don't, if somebody disagrees with me, my automatic thought is not, well, I don't like you because you don't agree with me. That's not my thought. you may have a different opinion than me, and I may not be thinking about it this way, or vice versa, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's wonderful to have the conversation and discussion. But if you don't like what I say, and you sit there and tell me, well, you're some whatever phobic or whatever, then that's not a conversation. I mean, that's just you blaming me for not agreeing with you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at it this way. I love breakfast burritos. You don't, so I hate you. However, I'm contractually obligated to continue speaking to you, or the producers will find me.
Look, it is not because I don't like breakfast burritos. It's just because I don't have a toilet next to me every time I eat one.
Oh, man. Yep. Can't make this stuff up.
So I choose not to eat them. So, well, I would like to talk about one last topic. I know we've hit at least 3 of them in this one, but just to make this one a little bit more heavier. Do you remember I don't believe it was our last podcast, but it was I think it was the other day we came out with Hot Off the Press.
Yes, that's right. Hot off the press.
And we talked about this 10-year-old girl in Ohio and how she got assaulted and impregnated and all this stuff. Well, there's some updates to that, and I kind of like to discuss it. But I do want to put out there, this is just me, that I think that it's a very convenient time when everybody was trying to question the legitimacy of the claim.
Yeah.
So it turns out that according to the mother of the victim, that she had filed a claim with the police department, I believe, and that she did that on the 22nd of June.
Okay. Yeah, because I know when we were talking about it last, there were a lot of state agencies, the Attorney General, and some other reporters that were trying to dig research on the topic, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find police reports. They couldn't find anything that was corroborating the story that this happened.
Right. And I believe...
Oh, go ahead.
I believe the chief of police for this particular town had no idea about this claim at the time, which was after I think all this stuff came out like the beginning of July.
So it'd be about a week, 2-week period after the fact.
Yeah, that all of this evidence started coming up. But it was... And I gotta get this gentleman's name. It's a complete and utter travesty. Is that the word I'm trying to say? It's wrong, right? It's horrifying that this even happened.
Absolutely.
But
this should not happen in any case, circumstance. This is never acceptable. This is never anything that, if she didn't dress like this, or if she didn't... No. This is never asked, warranted, nothing. What happened, like we said before, if it was true, what happened is despicable.
Yes, 100% despicable. I'm going to go ahead and let you say this gentleman's name, because I'm not good with Spanish.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Gerson. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Fuentes.
That's right.
So Gerson Fuentes, 27, was arrested on Tuesday, according to the Columbus Police in court documents. He's been charged with a felony of rape of a minor under the age of 13, according to Franklin County Municipal Court. His first court appearance was Wednesday. So he turned himself in. He was charged And according to sources, he's an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, that makes it even more upsetting that it happened.
So, do we need to start talking about securing the border?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. So from what I gathered from the stories that I've read about him, uh, he had. There were a couple conflicting stories. One was that the cops picked him up, they nabbed him, they got him, he confessed. There was another one where he turned himself in, and he confessed. Either way, apparently he's confessed to raping her at least twice.
Right.
Again, a sick thing, very despicable. Should never have happened.
No.
Never an instance where that's okay or all right or warranted.
Right.
I don't think anybody was doubting it because we didn't have the girl's information. I don't want the girl's information. Never needed it. She's a minor. That's terrible. But I think where the doubt was coming from was there was nowhere that was corroborating this story. It was just a doctor who put out a story that said, oh yeah, this is what happened and I had to help this little girl. Okay. Yeah. Well, give us more. What's the guy's name? What does he look like? Was he caught? Was he not caught? Was there a police report filed? Because at the time, again, nothing could be found that anything was filed. Now they're saying, like you said, yes, there was something filed. There was a detective who came and apparently took the stand and I don't know what the right word is. He witnessed or he provided his statement saying that, yeah, this happened. This guy confessed to this X, Y, and Z. But that wasn't anything that was available at the time.
No, at the time the story came out, nothing was available. But again, like you said, I don't want to know the girl's name. She has a right to privacy. Okay, yep. 100%. But where is the original doctor's claim? Not claim. Because they have to report this, right?
Yep.
So, because she's a minor. So where's that? And I think that's kind of more or less what people were getting upset about, like you said. Where's the original documentation? Why did we hear this from a third-party source?
Well, and a lot of it was so focused on the abortion, the abortion rights, and this 10-year-old should have been able to get an abortion in her state. She shouldn't have had to have traveled to get an abortion. My thing is accountability. Yes, that's terrible that happened. Where's the accountability? How come we're not focusing on that? And how do we fix the problem?
Exactly.
Instead of just focusing on, well, she should have been able to get abortion, down the street. How come we're not going after this guy? Okay, hey, we're going after him. He's in custody.
Yeah.
We found out he's an illegal immigrant, like you said. Okay, well, how do we try to mitigate that from happening more and more and more? What's going on at the border?
Yeah.
If crack cocaine is an issue in your neighborhood, you don't just, well, we just need to make more laws to outlaw crack cocaine because that would make it safer for everybody. Well, no, let's start going after these people that are making it, going after the people that are distributing it, going after the people that are buying it, and then redistributing it, or whatever the case. Like, let's get to the root of the problem.
Yes, correct.
Otherwise, all we're addressing is, well, these abortions, these people getting pregnant is inevitable. We just got to figure out how do we kill the babies to stop the problem. That's not going to stop the problem at all. It's still going to happen. How do we stop it from happening?
Yeah. Well, exactly. What? Now, this is I'm not going to say a rare case. It's because this is all over the news with multiple people, right? So illegal immigrants, they're assaulting American citizens, and this just this particular one, she got pregnant, right? So, where is the fine line? Where do we need? Well, not really fine line, but where do we start? Okay, well, let's start at the border. If people are trying to get into the border and they want to come in legally, let's fix that process. Let's not bring these criminals in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but when we have a broken process and we're letting people in droves, and we're not doing background checks, we're not checking the status of their claims, right? If they're seeking asylum, or if they're leaving war-torn countries to seek freedom and help and get out of that bad environment, right? Like you said, there is a process. Instead of just, well, we're just going to, people, they can come in willy-nilly, who cares who they are, right? Because humans. Well, I like people too, to a degree.
Yeah. Well.
But they have to... for the safety of our country, for the safety of our citizens, there is a process in place.
Correct.
We talked about this, I say we, the country talked about this a few years ago, talking about when President Trump was wanting to erect the wall down at the southern border. And people, why do we need a wall? We don't need a wall. We shouldn't be blocking people from coming in. And then the other side was saying, okay, well then why do you lock your doors on your house? You shouldn't have locked doors. I think that's an extreme. I don't think they're completely apples to apples. However, it brings up a good point. Similar to the gun narrative. Oh, guns are bad. You don't need guns. You shouldn't have them. You don't need that kind of gun to hunt. You don't need this, that, and the other. But I'm going to have armed security to protect me 24/7.
Yeah.
So you can be protected, but I can't be protected.
Right. I can't protect myself, but somebody else can protect you.
Yeah. You can have your doors locked, and you can live states away. But the people that live there on the border, that have their ranches or their houses, whatever, it's just kind of, sucks to suck. You just kind of have to let it happen.
Yeah.
There was a story that I saw today. I don't remember if you saw it or not, but a convenience store owner, and I forgot what state it is. I've got the video. I'll share it with you later. But this convenience store owner, he's in the convenience store. This lady comes in. Apparently, she didn't have enough money to pay for whatever it was she was trying to buy.
Okay.
So he's not letting her buy it. Well, she tells him, well, my boyfriend's going to come in, and basically he's going to mess you up. The boyfriend comes in. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, he was getting beat up. He was getting roughed around. I don't know if he had been stabbed or anything. But as the boyfriend, and there's video footage of it, as he's pulling him around to move him so that they can get to the register or steal whatever it is, the convenience store owner stabs him a few times.
The boyfriend?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And self-defense.
Self-defense. Well, the other two, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't get charged with anything. The convenience store owner got charged.
Yeah. So that happened in New York City.
New York, okay.
And the girlfriend actually stabbed him first.
There you go.
So while he was sitting there and the boyfriend wanted to rough him up, he was already bleeding out.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I saw this story. It was early this morning I saw this story.
Yeah.
And he ultimately, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he actually killed the boyfriend on self-defense charges. Or, well, yeah. They charged him with murder.
Prosecuted him instead. He didn't have a right to self-defense.
Who doesn't have a right to self-defense?
That guy.
Apparently in New York City.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of go down that rabbit trail just to show it's becoming more and more the trend or the narrative, if you will, that you just kind of need to shut up and color. If anything's going to happen to you, you just have to take it.
Well, not just that.
It's not your right to protect yourself. It's not your right to protect your goods, your family, anything like that. You just need to let these people do what they're going to do.
Let me try and bring this round into a circle.
Yeah.
You are not able to defend yourself and take a life, according to New York, right?
Sure.
But mothers have the right to kill a baby, an unborn child.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, rules for me, not for thee.
Yeah. Well, and then they want to get into the argument, and it's such a broad topic, right? Abortion. Because there are many instances where, okay, yeah, this is going to harm the mother's life. We need to make a decision here. Okay.
Right.
But if it becomes an inconvenience, I think that's where a lot of the right-leaning folks are is, well, you shouldn't be just going out partying. Oops, I got pregnant and I didn't want to be pregnant. I want to go kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a matter of, hey, I'm going to take the morning after pill, or I'm going to make sure I'm taking my contraceptives. This is a matter of, oh, hey, 2, 3, 4, 6 months down the road, I decide, yeah, I don't want this thing. It's not convenient to me. It's not convenient to my life. I'm supposed to go to college next year. I'm in college. This isn't going to help me. I just want to terminate it.
Right.
So, yeah, who the crap are you to make that kind of decision?
But I don't have a right to defend myself after I've already been stabbed.
Yeah. Nope.
So
Can't protect yourself. And
it
there
doesn't
was
make
one
any sense.
I saw today too. They were talking about the mothers. It was on the topic of the mothers aborting the child. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. But they were comparing that and the fathers. You know, what about the fathers when they don't want to raise the child? They don't have a say in it.
No.
They're obligated. And someone's, well, the father can, sign their rights away so that they don't have to take care of it. They still got to pay child support in most cases.
Yeah. The legal system is in place where even if they do sign their parentals right away, they still have to provide child support.
Mm-hmm. They're not getting a say in it. And I'm not saying that, the husbands should be, or the boyfriends or whoever should be saying, no, you need to carry that kid to term because I want you to, just because I want you to. But it shouldn't be I guess my point is it shouldn't be a one-person decision, right?
Well,
now, there are cases where that could be warranted. But again, the convenience, no, I don't think so. I don't agree with that personally.
Okay.
Another one, they were talking about go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'll be able to talk one day. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, if you're lucky and the producers allow it. Yeah, if it comes back to me, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, interrupt me again. Well, it's so all of this is just. It seems what a certain percentage of the country want. You say this all the time. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like those individuals are just pulling this country in a backwards position. We're trying to take one step forward, but they're pulling us 4 or 5 steps back. And we're just going in a direction that it doesn't seem like it doesn't matter what side of the realm you're on, left, right, middle, in the modern world, it just doesn't seem like that's what the majority wants. Just this little percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just being a lot more vocal about it because it's unfortunate that a lot of these people know how to use social media.
Yeah, you're right.
And America loves drama. I don't care who you are. I mean, you think about it. TV shows, reality TV shows.
Yep.
Those are the top ones on any network you have. So
why do people watch
The
The Bachelor? Why do people watch The Bachelorette or Jersey Shore when that
Shark
was a thing?
Tank?
Drama. We love it.
It's drama. Well, I don't, but that's just me.
Well, and I'm, like you said, bringing it back. I'm not saying that it would have been the right decision to say to this 10-year-old, hey, sorry, you got to carry this baby. You're going to have it. You have to be a mom now. Sorry it happened to you. Good luck when you're 11, 12, 13, 14, and so forth.
No.
but I don't think the focus should have been solely on, oh, look, a 10-year-old got raped, she became pregnant, and she couldn't go to her doctor and get an abortion at 6 weeks and 3 days.
No. I don't
think the
think
focus
any...
needs to be, hey, this is really freaking unfortunate, and we're going to figure out whatever medical care they need to figure out. But now let's go get this guy and hang him.
Exactly.
Let's go get this guy and figure out who, what, when, where, why. And then again, kind of get to the root of the problem.
Right.
Because it's not just her. Like you said, there are other cases where young children this is happening to. But why is it happening?
Yeah. Why does this even need to be a thing? Why?
Yep. And it's not like these rapes and whatnot are legal.
No.
And, oh, well, we just need to outlaw these, or we need to put more laws on the books that say you can't rape minors. Okay, well, that's already a thing. You can't do that.
No,
but
that's why they're minors.
People do it.
Yeah.
So how do we prosecute these people? How do we make an example? How do we show people, hey, you really don't want to do this, and here's why?
Well, so even if you go extreme with it, right? So this one, I don't know the laws. He's an illegal immigrant, right? So he's not a U.S. citizen. If he was a U.S. citizen, he needs to be on the death penalty. I don't care who you are, right? However, because he's an illegal immigrant, he does not have citizenship for the United States. I don't know if we can legally put this man on death row. Is he going to have to serve a life sentence in prison? Is he going to have to serve 5 life sentences in prison? I mean, he doesn't have... I don't think he should have that right.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be prosecuted in the full extent of the law, and I can tell you, don't bring him down here because we will throw him in the express lane. Because Texas has got one, but here's my thought on it as well. You start prosecuting and throwing these people on death sentences, right? And then all this is going to go underground, kind of like with the internet. So you have the internet, and then you have like the dark web, and then you have the deep web, and then so all of this is just going to go underground, and then when it pops back up again, it's going to be like, holy crap, I thought we already got rid of this. And it's just going to be a never-ending thing. So how do we stop this from even going down that rabbit hole?
Yeah.
And that is something that I think states or maybe even the federal government needs to sit down and talk about.
Yeah.
Because we can't sit there and be mercenaries. You can't have mercenaries here in the United States going out and just finding these people and whatnot, because then that's going to get corrupt. And then it's just going to be a good old boys club and everybody's going to die. So it's a sticky situation.
It is. It absolutely is.
But I think that these people need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, whether they are illegal or not, because this is morally not correct.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd like to know, and not necessarily in this particular case, but as a whole, maybe as they pop up or what have you, but like if you're a jury member, you're provided with all these details and facts and whatnot of what happened so you can make your decision, right? Well, all we know thus far, anyways, from this particular case is that this guy admitted to raping this girl at least twice.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances? Again, I don't need to know her personal life. What were the circumstances? Were they at a party? A 10-year-old and a 27-year-old at a party hanging out? Did he kidnap her? Was she walking home from school and he grabbed her?
Yeah.
And then released her. And, I don't know. And again, having that background, I think, would help get to not necessarily the bottom of the whole issue. But, okay, hey, these people are preying on kids that are walking home from school. Maybe we put more cops on the street on the route that kids walk home from school. Or what? But without having that, without being able to diagnose, hey, in this case, this is how this happened or why this happened, how do we move forward with it? How do we put in a plan or a system or what have you to fix
fix the issue. Yep. Yeah. And that needs to be at the city level. It needs to be at the state level. If you have a county people, like here we have the Taylor County Committee. So, whatever level it needs to be on, they need to talk about it. The state needs to talk about it. The state needs to come up with something to protect their citizens. And I think, and this could be just extreme, but I think the federal government needs to talk about it. The big folks, the House, the Senate, But here's my issue with this, is that this story did not get big until the president told it to the people. Why did we not know about this prior to that?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like the president. I know he's got a pretty low approval rating right now. But why did we hear it from him? Why is this? So now we need to look at Ohio. What's wrong with their system? Mm-hmm. But what if this happened here? What if this happened in Texas? Now we need to hold Greg Abbott accountable. We need to hold whatever city that was in. We need to hold them accountable. I'm just going to random city in Texas, Houston. Say it happened in Houston, right? Need to hold Houston accountable. Because this is unacceptable.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody. So, those are my thoughts. These are the updates.
Yeah, and we'll continue to monitor, and if there are more developing facts from this particular case, this story, we will continue to update.
Yeah, and let us know if you like these hot topics and all the updates and our thoughts.
Yeah.
So,
and let us know your opinions, too. You don't have to agree. You could be on a different side of the spectrum. You could be totally opposite thinking and think we're morons, but let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And we would love to have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to do it tonight, bub.
Whoop, whoop.
We will talk to you later. We will hopefully hear from you guys soon.
Yep.
Everyone have a good one.
Adios.
Breakfast taco out. As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/JTDrewShow.